Hi, everyone. Welcome to tonight's Writers Workshop. My name is Salim. I will be serving as your host tonight and will help navigate questions. Our topic tonight is the right moves with writing coach Molly Thornton. Before I introduce Molly, I do want to share a few updates about the library. So we are open to the public and back to our normal hours. If you don't feel comfortable coming into the library just yet, that's okay. We are continuing our curbside delivery service. This is where you can request items at home and pick them up in front of the library. For more information on that, you can visit champaign.org/curbside. If you need help, there are a few ways you can reach out to staff. You can schedule a consultation at champaign.org/book-a-librarian. You can chat with us anytime the library is open, and you can email us at librarian@champaign.org. I also want to share some information about an upcoming program next month. So we've partnered with Cranard Art Museum and Urbana Free Library for a program on August 18th. Called Pandemics as a Portal to Change. And this is where you can come and hear local authors read their poetry and creative writing. That will be a Zoom webinar, so you can sign up to get the Zoom link at champaign.org/events. I do want to share a few instructions for communicating through Zoom tonight. So if you have questions, depending on your device, at the bottom of the screen towards the center, you should see the option to chat, which will allow you to type your question in. Next to that is the raise hand option if you want to use your microphone, and I can unmute you. Molly will answer questions throughout her presentation if you have any, as well as at the end of her presentation. Okay, with that said, I'd like to now introduce our presenter.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Welcome to The Right Moves. My name is Molly Thornton. I'm a creative writing coach. I'm based in Los Angeles. And this practice, The Right Moves, is something that I started sharing online during the pandemic. And it's something that I've liked to do and have done with other writers for much longer than that, which is just to incorporate dance into writing, and a way of incorporating dance and music as a different type of prompt that can, I think, solve a lot of the problems that we often have as writers. So with writing, a lot of times people who come to me for coaching are stuck on things like what ends up being perfectionism and overthinking. We want to think our way into our writing when actually we need to shift out of the way that normally helps us get through our days and our tasks and get into a different mindset. So we need to also be able to transition into that. And I find that getting into my body, and for others, getting into their bodies and shaking up the physical self can be a way to open up those portals and not come up with ideas, but be able to access them and be able to access our creative parts. So I'm really happy to share this with you. I am going to give you a little overview of what we're going to do tonight. So we are going to talk a little bit more about why we're doing this and what it is, and then we're going to go through practice. So I'm excited for this to be something that hopefully you incorporate in some ways into your own writing practice. And thank you to the Champaign Library. This will also be available to review and is a practice that you can do with this video again in the future, which is wonderful. So we'll do a little bit of centering just to begin to notice our bodies. And then we'll basically do 3 routines of dancing and then writing. And I have a couple of different pieces of writing to share with you to infuse us with some inspiration as well. And then we'll have a little bit of time to hear from anything that you all want to share in the chat, as well as for me to answer any questions you have. So in the chat to start, I would love to find out about who's here. Where are you? What kind of writing do you like to do? And when is the last time you danced? any of these that you want to share the answers to, I'd love to hear. A lot of times I find that people haven't danced in a long time, and a lot of writers are nervous to do this even if they're interested. So good on you for, if you made it, to try this out tonight. If you want to share anything about your writing or your dancing, go ahead and let us know. A little bit more about me as well while you all settle in. I write poetry, memoir, and fiction as well myself. I like to dabble around. Right now I'm working on a novel for the first time in a long time, and I have taken a lot of dance breaks to help me get through the now editing process that I'm in with that. So I work with people one-on-one on their novels, memoirs, poems, and writing processes. And a lot of what I like to work on with people is the application. We get a lot of ideas and we learn lots of great things from craft talks. And then we have a hard time sometimes actually getting to the desk. So I hope that this practice will help you with that. So to start, let's go ahead and get centered wherever you are. If you are at your desk or sitting on the floor or wherever is going to be comfy for you. If you can get your feet planted on the floor, or if you're laying down, great, get super comfy. And if you're comfortable, to go ahead and just close your eyes for a moment. And just start to notice your body, that maybe you haven't noticed it really getting you through the day, what it feels like. If you'd like, go ahead and take a couple breaths with me. So a big breath in through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Let's do one more. In through your nose and out. And while you're here, let's start with the feet and just feel those feet, whether your heels are laying against the floor or your feet you feel against your shoes or against your socks or against the floor. Notice your ankles and your calves, your knees. Notice any temperature or sensation in your thighs. Feel the back of your legs against your seat or against the floor. Notice your lower back, your stomach. If there's any tension there, release it, let it be soft. Notice your chest, the top of your back, your shoulders. Let them come down if they're tight. Notice your arms, your elbows, your wrists, your hands, and each of your fingers. Notice the back of your neck, the top of your head, your face. Release any tension there. Just take a moment to soak in anything you notice, any changes. And when you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes and come back. So we'll use this first dance that we're gonna do to be a warm up into your body. So if you haven't moved much today, or you have any injuries or any limitations, be super gentle throughout all of this, but especially now. We won't be doing any choreography. There's no way that you need to be or move. If it's best for you to stay in your seat while you move, that's great. If you are ready to get up and jump around, that's also great. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to play one song and we'll move through the entirety of it. And then we'll take about 3 minutes to just do a free write. So just checking in what the status is, what's going on with you, and beginning to percolate. Get the music going here. Okay, let's hop right into writing. I'm going to give us 3 minutes to just do a free write. Whatever is in your brain, this is just for you. Think of it as a journal, as a list, as nonsense. I'll let you know when it's been 3 minutes. Go ahead and dive in. find a good stopping place in your thoughts and we'll move on to the next. You can always come back to that. These will be short. Of course, when you're writing on your own, you can spend as much time as you want, hopefully. So as you've now noticed as well, you're going to need perhaps some room to dance and something to write on if it's your computer or a journal. Hopefully you had those together, and otherwise go ahead and grab them. I want to share something with you now from a writing text that I refer to a lot that you may be familiar with, which is Natalie Goldberg's classic, Writing Down the Bones. So this book has a lot of just inspiration and encouragement about what it is to write and how to get to the page. So I'm going to read something to you from a section called Writing as a Practice. And I'm going to put part of it up on the screen, just a couple of the key quotes from this section. So she says, "This is the practice school of writing. Like running, the more you do it, the better you get at it. Some days you don't want to run and you resist every step of the 3 miles, but you do it anyway. You practice whether you want to or not. You don't wait around for inspiration and a deep desire to run. It'll never happen, especially if you're out of shape and have been avoiding it. But if you run regularly, you train your mind to cut through or ignore your resistance. You just do it. And in the middle of the run, you love it. When you come to the end, you never want to stop. And you stop, hungry for the next time. That's how writing is too. Once you're deep into it, you wonder what took you so long to finally settle down at the desk. Through practice, you actually do get better. You learn to trust your deep self more and not give in to your voice that wants to avoid writing. It is odd that we never question the feasibility of a football team practicing long hours for one game. Yet in writing, we rarely give ourselves the space for practice. When you write, don't say, I'm going to write a poem. That attitude will freeze you right away. Sit down with the least expectation of yourself. Say, I am free to write the worst junk in the world. You have to give yourself the space to write a lot without a destination. I've had students who said they decided they were going to write the great American novel and haven't written a line since. If every time you sat down you expected something great, writing would always be a great disappointment. Plus, that expectation would also keep you from writing. One of the main aims in writing practice is to learn to trust your own mind and body, to grow patient and non-aggressive. Art lives in the big world. One poem or story doesn't matter one way or the other. It's the process of writing and life that matters. Writing practice embraces your whole life and doesn't demand any logical form. No chapter 19 following the action in chapter 18. It's a place that you can come to wild and unbridled, mixing the dream of your grandmother's soup with the astounding clouds outside your window. It is undirected and has to do with all of you right in your present moment. Think of writing practice as loving arms you come to illogically and incoherently. It's our wild forest where we gather energy before going to prune our garden, write our fine books and novels. It's a continual practice. So this is the kind of book that has these dense, sometimes truisms and really helpful information that sometimes goes right past you and sometimes hits. So I hope something from this will come to you at the right time today, and we'll dance to another song now to percolate on this. And I encourage you to begin to see the dancing as a prompt as well in whatever that brings up for you. So pay attention to any sensations, anything in your body that interests you, anything about the music, as well as thoughts or memories that come to you that interest you while we move. We will move to one more song now and then do a little bit of writing, thinking about these words from writing down the bones. And I encourage you also to think about your hands to guide you through this dance, be it just moving your hands or following where they take you. Okay, let me get us set. Here we go. All right, get settled. And we'll write a little bit about whatever is on your mind, or not even on your mind, but just comes to you. Sometimes we go on a walk or a shower and we suddenly have a great idea, and maybe dancing does the same thing for you. So I'm gonna give you 5 minutes for this one, and whatever it is, feel free to write the worst junk in the world. find a place to stop on that one for now. You can pick it up in a few minutes if you'd like. And I encourage you in your own writing practice to choose something like an affirmation or an encouraging text like that, or a piece of writing from anything that you love that you can use as an anchor and invite you into your writing every time. Feel free to make it be, I am free to write the worst junk in the world. That one works well for me. So I want to share a different piece of writing with you now. This is going to be a poem that is written either directly or indirectly in relationship with inspiration from a song from an album. And we will dance to the same song, and you'll see that the link between these is not directly obvious. But I want to encourage you to think about the way that movement, the music itself, lyrics, or just something else about the music can be the prompt. So I'm going to share this poem with you on the screen. That's from one of my favorite poets and authors, Hanif Abdurraqib, who has several books that I recommend, all of them. So this poem is in response to Emotion by Carly Rae Jepsen. There is more than one way to cover a temple in platinum. Maybe we both long for an era when there were less things to record death. In the interview, they asked if you believe in love at first sight. You said, I think I have to. You didn't say, we are all one hard storm away from dissolving, vanishing into the frenzied dusk. But I get it. I know what it is to walk into the mouth of an unfamiliar morning and feel everything. I touch hands with a stranger who gives me my change at the market, and I already know their history. I suppose this is survival. I will love those who no one else thinks to remember. This is all that is promised. There will be a decade you are born, and a decade that you will not make it out of alive. All of the rooftops where the parties were in the year of my becoming are now dust. No one dances so close to the sky anymore. I say I, too, am a romantic, and I mean I never expected to survive this long. I have infinite skin. I keep dry when the rain comes. There will always be another era of bright suits that don't quite fit but must. There will always be a year where the cameras are hungry for whatever sins we can strangle out of the night. There will always be another spoon for boys to lick the sugar from. I'll leave that up and we will dance to Emotion and then write about whatever you pull from it.
turn the lights right down? What if I turn the lights right down? You'll be in the dark right now. What if I turn the lights right down?
All right, that was our last dance. You made it. We're going to write to that now. And if there's any words or phrases that you pulled from that song, I encourage you to build off of that or incorporate them. And if not, then I would suggest incorporating this line that I love from the poem we read, which is, I touch hands with a stranger, which is the start of a phrase in that poem. So I'll put that prompt up if you'd like to work off of it. And we will take about 4 or 5 minutes on this one as well. And then we'll have a chance to take a break, answer any questions, and read anything you'd like to share. go ahead and find a stopping place on that one. And I will pull this presentation down. I'll just share with you. If you want more inspiration for all of your writing practice, there's a whole document that you can pull from my website, mollythorntonwrites.com, and get 5 ways to restart your writing practice. One of them is dancing, so you've already got a head start, and there's my email if you need it. I would love to hear from anyone who has questions or wants to, in the chat, share a line from anything they've written or a reflection on what they think about this process.
So I have a question for you, Molly.
Sure.
So does more upbeat music tend to be better for writing, or would you say it depends on like the mood you're in and the kind of the vibe you want to set?
That's a good question. Yeah, I think it depends completely on the person. Some people like to listen to music actually while they're writing, and some don't at all. I do, and I find with that, I very much want to listen to music that matches the mood of what I'm trying to write. So
Right.
like the novel that I'm working on, I have a playlist of things that I feel like evoke the setting or remind me of the characters in it. Whereas when I'm doing, just wanting to do dance as a way to get me into my writing, I just want to dance to whatever I think is fun to dance to.
I love the music you chose, by the way. I was looking up the lyrics to download it later for my own playlist.
Yes, yeah, I can send them to you if you didn't get them. And I can share a link to that list if you'd like to put in the YouTube as well. There's
Thank you. Yeah,
always some bonus songs on there too.
definitely. Thank you.
Yeah. I think we had a small group. I know
Yes.
it can be this one can be a hard hump. You've got to have a lot of bravery to do it for the first
Yeah.
time. But hopefully there will be a lot of people who can enjoy it in the privacy of their own homes.
Yes.
When they would like to, and yeah, build their own writing practice.
While we are waiting to see if any questions come in, I do want to take the time to give one quick reminder for the next workshop. So the next workshop will be on Wednesday, August 4th at 7 p.m. And that will be the path to getting published with local editor Ekta Garg. So make sure that you register for that one if you haven't already. I don't see any questions coming through, but I want to say thank you to Molly. That was wonderful. I really enjoyed it.
Great. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. And we will see everyone at the next workshop. And thank you so much for coming.
Awesome.
Have a good night.
Bye.